Hello and welcome. This is rooflemonger, and my friends, in today's video, what we're going to be talking about is Mortal Kombat 11 and the things the game frankly needs to change to make it into a better game. Now, I'm not going to be the guy to come here and say Mortal Kombat 11 is a bad game or something like that, right? I've certainly done more than my fair share coverage of MK11 since it's come out, so I obviously don't think it's a bad game at all, otherwise I wouldn't have bothered. But there are things about it I find very frustrating, and things about it that definitely need to change, and that is exactly what we're going to talk about in this video. So to be frank, before we get into the meat of the video here, I have not played MK11 as much as MKX and MK9, right? In the same amount of time frame since they've been out, I've not played MK11 as much because I find some of these things very frustrating, and continually so, because I gotta assume these are things known to the developers, and yet nothing really happens, nothing really changes. So this could be a bit of a hot takes episode, I don't know, because I'll be speaking from the heart from a lot of this stuff, because I find a lot of this stuff honestly ultra frustrating, and I don't know, man. So, you know what, let's just get right into it here. I'll probably have this broken down into segments, just talking about various aspects that just need to be changed up. You know what, the first one we're going to talk about here is just the general hitbox wonkiness. So the hitbox issues in Mortal Kombat 11 are honestly the worst I've seen in any modern fighting game, like since like the Street Fighter 4 revival in 2009, right? It is hard to even go over every detail here. There's just so much here. So let's open up with an example. I'm sure you know the concept of jailing in Mortal Kombat 11. Super key concept, right? Where, let's just put on our crouch. So if Sonya is crouching, I can tap her here. She'll be forced to stand up a little bit for a few frames. Specifically in this instance here, 12 frames. And I can force her to take the stand one, the jab, right? Now, obviously, she gets to block, she gets to defend herself, but this is one of the most core concepts of Mortal Kombat, is jailing. I can force you, taking, you know, a little jab, a little down one, a little down three, whatever it may be, and then force you into taking a string, as long, you know, as I'm fast enough, right? So, hey, that's Sonya. And Sonya has one of the most wonky hitboxes in the game, too. But let's move it over to Jackie. So, just break down the numbers here. Let's use down one now, specifically, right? So down one, 10 frames of advantage. Stand one, 7 frames, so I have a 3-frame window to jail with, and yet it literally cannot work against Jackie. Just because of something about her hitbox, that means a concept Raiden can use against every other character in the game cannot work against Jackie. He cannot down one, have it connect, and then jail in this down one. Now, some of the other jails here, they do work, like down 3 is plus 12, stand 2 is 11 frames, so he can jail that, right? But just a simple down 1 into stand 1 can't do it. And Jackie, this is not the only example, by the way. There's more characters in Raiden that suffer from this against Jackie. But this is one of the most core, basic offensive tenets of the game. And I literally, if I'm playing Raiden, if I fight Jackie, I gotta throw it out the window. I can't do it. Now, you can argue having unique hitbox interactions adds depth to a fighting game, and absolutely I agree, but not when it removes interactivity, not when it just takes away options. So here, I just have a simple thing I can do. You know, many characters, like down one, stand one, not every character, but most characters, that's a concept, right? And me as Raiden specifically, against Jackie specifically, I know I can't do it, and now I'm stuck. Now, let's use another example here. I'm going to be sticking to specific examples because I could be here all day long if I went through like every major issue, but I think this is another prominent one. Kano. So forward 1-2. Forward 1-2, actually one of his better strings, right? So forward 1, 13 frame mid, advancing mid as well. So that's good. You don't got to worry if they're neutral ducking and mashing D2, and we'll talk about that later. But yeah, so forward 1-2, awesome. Hit confirmable too. Especially good for, say, variation 2. Variation 2, if you can hit confirm, you can go right into your Black Dragon Ball power-up. And then, hey, it's just a combo, right? Hey, whatever. That's almost 20% off an easy hit confirm. Awesome. That's great. But the move itself has wildly insane hitbox issues. So here we are now. The enemy is set to block, obviously enough, right? And we do it. Hey, it connects. They gotta block it, right? So even though the second hit is a high, like if we were to whiff, like it would not connect at all, right? And fair enough, it shouldn't. But if we connect with the first hit, it's supposed to raise their hitbox a little bit. You know, your hitbox is raised while you're actively blocking. And then, hey, they get stuck. They got to block the second hit. Except against a large portion of the cast, this isn't the case. And now here we are with Sonya. And you know what? Spit still misses if you crouch block, as it should, right? It is a high. But if we now do forward 1, you know, raise that hurt box here while you're blocking, turns out, nah, it's just not going to work, right? So I can't confirm off this in any real way. In fact, specifically, I'm probably get punished off this because I'm stuck in the animation. And then, you know, I also have my string ender, which the hit confirm part helps me get. You know, assessing if it's blocked or not. I can't do that if it just whiffs. So not only is it not working the way it should, you know, I can get punished for this. And I couldn't. We used Robocop earlier as an example. It could not work that way against Robocop. You'd have to submit the string just like normal. And it's about this way, off the top of my head, it's like anywhere from like 9, 10, or 11 characters against Kano, right? So this is not a one-off weird hitbox interaction. A lot of characters in this game, when they're crouching and they're blocking, they're just simply way lower to the ground than other characters. Unfairly so, as you can see in my opinion. Now, you might immediately ask yourself, well, maybe this is intentional, blah, blah, blah. And 1, I have proof it's not intentional, which I'll show you in a second. 2, if it was intentional, it's god-awful to say, okay, I can't use one of my core main tools in the game in, like, you know, a third of my matchups. That's absolutely insane. Like, that's madness. But, you know, so NRS games have what we call breathing hurt boxes. So, as you see Cabal, he's just crouching in the corner. You notice, hey, he's like breathing. Like, you know, he's moving up and down a little bit. And that actually changes the block potential. So I'm going to be using forward 1-2 here with Kano again. Let's see how this works. Okay, connected, awesome, right? I could get hit confirmed from that. That's sick. Okay, and let's see now if we keep going. Oh, wait, it missed. Okay, connected that time. All right, that must have been a one-off. Oh, no, it's not a one-off, right? So literally depending on the breathing animation frame you connect on against Cabal will determine if this connects or whiffs. If this is like a proper, you know, hit confirm string, or if you're not going to get nothing. And I think that says it all right there in a nutshell. Like, I don't know what you want to call it, but it ain't good no matter what it is. Simply put, it is not good. So that is definitely not by design for you to have a coin flip chance of Cabal having to block your move, your string or not in the corner, right? That is just something needs to change with the hitboxes, right? There needs to be a big look over this kind of stuff. We went over a couple of smaller issues before, but I think this really just sends the big hit home what a lot of the problems are. And once again, there are so many problems. But you know what? We'll just do one more real quick. So when Mortal Kombat 11 Aftermath came out, one of the bigger changes in the game was Raiden's back 1-2 into the throw. It becoming like a proper throw, right? So it was idea is like there's a little bit of some mix-up potential, right? If you keep blocking, I can throw you. So the idea is not to be passive, because if I let go of block, I don't block after the throw, then you can't throw me, right? But that isn't how it worked when it came out. That's what it was sold to us as, but it's not actually how it worked. In fact, against a large portion of the cast, they could hold block all day long. You still couldn't throw them. It just literally didn't work as advertised, right? And I think that's a lot of the problem right there. I'm not going to say developers are lazy. That is one of the stupidest arguments. They work hard. They work long hours. They're definitely not lazy. But I think there's just a lot of oversights they're not looking forward to, you know, or just not looking at, right? And I think a lot of the hitbox stuff needs a really strong look over, because so many interactions, how you would expect it to work, don't work. And they don't work in not fun ways, not ways that add depth to a matchup. They work in ways that take away from a matchup. So with all that said, hitboxes are one of the biggest problems in Mortal Kombat 11. Now, next up, I want to talk fundamental character balance. Now, here's the thing. It's not that the game's unbalanced, because it's not. The tiers are quite compressed. Like, the difference between a high-tier character and a low-tier character is not wild, right? It's not like back in the day games. So that's not exactly what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about here is, one, a refusal to change what the game is. This honestly definitely comes from a lot of criticism of older NRS games. So older NRS games, the biggest criticism was there's too many balance patches. You're always changing the game up, right? And a lot of people didn't like that. You know, some people did, right? Until they made a balance patch no one, you know, a change no one liked, and then they didn't like it, right? But yeah, so one of the biggest criticisms was too many patches, and now I think they've gone way too far in the other direction of they're just afraid to change the game up a little bit. Like, if you follow my channel at all, you know I cover a lot of Dragon Ball FighterZ, right? Dragon Ball FighterZ has had 2 momentous patches so far this year in 2020, right? Patches that have wildly changed up how characters work. Characters that were bottom tier, like Jiren or something like that. Jiren went and got a whole new glow up. Blue Vegeta is basically a whole new friggin' character, right? And in Mortal Kombat 11, man, you don't see changes like that. Like, there's the odd change, like the Collector 4-4 change was really good. That brought a lot of new life into the character. But for the most part, they're just not willing to change stuff. And when they are willing to change stuff, it is, well, let's talk about Shao Kahn. So Shao Kahn, the buffs he got in Aftermath, I think just have a fundamental misunderstanding of what the issues were to begin with, right? Stuff like the B3 changes, like his combo damage is higher than it was before. Absolutely, that's great, right? And one of the ideas here is we're kind of throwing out, it's like, oh, you know, use it at max range, all that kind of stuff, great footsies tool. And then, you know, I thought, wow, fantastic, I'll make like a guide showing the characters that you can safely use this against. And then about 15 characters in, when 14 of them could easily punish it, I'm just thinking, oh, okay, this isn't a good footsies tool at all. In fact, there's only a handful of characters in the game that can't punish this at perfect spacing. So really not a good tool. One of the most demanded changes in the history of this game was to make 4-3-4, Shao Kahn's little stomps here, make them special cancelable. And special cancelable they became, right? Fantastic. I can now do this, go into special and hit confirm, get a bit of a combo. Great, lovely. But then they also took those knees, these little fancy little shimmy knees here, and they crippled them. Because they made the move unsafe on block, -12. You can do whatever you want to punish that. There already is a flawless blockable gap between there as well. They didn't remove that, right? So on top of having the gap, which is very easy to visually assess because that second stomp takes forever, you now made the move punishable on block, forcing yourself into a 50-50 situation where you have to go for the grab afterwards. And it's a 50-50 that is not in your favor because the enemy's potential reward, like, you know, off like a down 2 crushing blow or something, is much higher than your potential reward. So they took the move, gave everyone what they wanted, and then made everything about it worse. So once again, I just think a fundamental misunderstanding of what people want out of the character. So many characters in this game have like 9-frame, easily hit confirmable mids, right? Shao Kahn, 10 frames, whatever. You can nerf this, make this like 10 frame or 11 frames, 12 frames. I'd still be cool with it, right? As long as it just hits mid and is a safe hit confirm like the majority of the cast has. And all the characters that don't have that kind of stuff, they got a lot of extra stuff to work with. Shao Kahn, not so much. And once again, fundamental misunderstanding. Shao Kahn needs pressure, right? If you want to give him easy pressure, boom, simple as this. Down 3, 10 frames. He has a 9-frame stand 1 with a really weird hitbox. So technically, jailing into down 3 into stand 1 is a 1-frame link. So just give this like plus 12, plus 13. So many characters have plus 12, plus 13, plus 14, plus 15 down 3s anyways. So there's no harm. Same deal here is down 1, 10 frames. So he has extreme difficulty just getting any jails. In fact, on a lot of characters, he can't jail down 1 to stand 1, right? That's all he ever really needed, right? As much as I love the whole 4-3-4 special confirm stuff, that was not necessary, right? Just some reliable pressure, just like any other character. That's kind of stuff that was needed, and he got exactly none of it. And I know. I'm so sorry for ranting about Shao Kahn again. I ranted God knows how many videos about Shao Kahn in the past. I've ranted about Kotal Kahn in the past. And you know what? Kotal eventually got where he was going, right? So that's why I feel somewhat justified in these rants. But this is what I'm talking about. And Shao Kahn's a favorite character of mine. I grew up in the 80s. You know, I was there for Mortal Kombat from the start. He's a legendary character to me, and he's finally playable in the game properly. So to see him just being done an injustice, it just really gets to me, you know? So, and this is far from the only character. There's so many other characters, so many other examples. But when I say there's just an unwillingness to balance, that hurts already. And when they finally are willing to tweak something, they wind up with something like this, or they wind up with something with the Raiden change we talked about earlier, where it was a broken move and didn't even work as intended. A lot of the concepts they went into with Aftermath, I understand it and I support it fully, right? The idea is buff the low tiers and just maybe a little slap on the hand on the top tiers, right? Like Joker, Johnny, Liu Kang, they all got tiny slap on the hand nerfs. And of course, everyone said the character's dead. And no, of course not. They're still very strong characters. But then you look at another character that's wildly strong like Jackie, and they didn't even bother to touch her. I guess they just thought, oh, no, that's fine. And of course, then we entered like an era of people complaining about Jackie because she didn't get the slap on the hand the other ones did. And a lot of the characters they tried to raise up didn't really work out that way. Now, I'm not going to say, the Aftermath patch was bad, because absolutely not. It made a lot of the unused variations still very good, right? Like Nightwolf, like Variation 3 went from like the worst to like the best one. So, hey, awesome, right? But a lot of the still issues with the variations, a lot of variations for a lot of characters still are not worth your time. And basically, I just wish they took the bigger picture a lot of times, because I feel a lot of patches, they just kind of hyper specify on one thing and just kind of forget about the rest. And now, finally, I want to talk about Breakaway. Breakaway legitimately is just an awful mechanic. We've tried to talk around it, all the kind of things, but it just sucks. There's no other way around it. It's a worthy attempt, right? So many other NRS games in the past, they just simply have combo breaker. You do the thing, you break the combo, you're done. And honestly, as simple as not complex as it is, it's absolutely superior to Breakaway, because Breakaway adds more frustration than anything. So I got Kotal to do a basic combo here, right? And the idea here is, after launch, I'm going to Breakaway. So at that point, it's kind of like, well, I don't want you to break away because I want to get my damage. So the idea here is, okay, I'll not do the normal follow-up and I'll like dash forward and uppercut and get a good chunk of change in. So maybe not the whole combo damage, but I stopped your breakaway. Haha, called you out on it, right? And that is the core idea of the breakaway. But the reality of the breakaway is this. Now, if I know what your bread and butter combos are, I am going to absolutely kill you for doing them. So take someone like me. I know Kotal combo structure pretty well, right? So I know if you're in Ascension, the general gist is going to be something like this. You're going to launch me, and then you're going to do another forward 1-2. And if I know you're going to do another forward 1-2, we're going to wind up with situations like this. Yeah, it says punish, by the way. So for correctly getting the combo, right? Not only did I break out of the combo, I'm going to put you in a punishable state. And this is a big problem. Once you understand, the bread and butter combos of a lot of characters, so many characters have the point of no return, where if you commit to the combo, the breakaway now not only gets out of the combo, it will actively punish you for successfully doing what you're out there to do. So the days of like, I'm just going to like dash and maybe I get less damage if you didn't break away, maybe I do, whatever. Those days are gone. Like they've been gone for a long time, honestly, right? If you know how a character works and you know their proclivities for combo strings, then as soon as you see a certain button stuck out in the middle of a combo, you know how it's going to end. You break away and then you get to completely turn the tables in an absolutely unfair, in my opinion, way, making it million times more stronger than the basic combo breaker ever was, right? I understand the idea is to add maybe a little bit of a mind game to it, but it is simply put way too much stronger than that. Like, to be frankly honest, I would much prefer if they just went back to the old system. When I do my breakaway, instead of breakaway, it's just combo breaker. I bop you away from me, or reset, good to go. I'm out my defensive bars, whatever, so I still suffer in that regard, sure. But we just reset the neutral, and there's no potential where I can like actively punish you for, winning, right? The idea of getting the hit in the fighting game is the reward in and of itself, right? I got the hit, therefore, you should have blocked it, you should have avoided it, you should have done whatever, but instead, I now have to worry about what combo string I'm doing because you could just flip the tables on me mid-combo and then kill me. Like, that's absolutely ridiculous. So, ranting and rambling, that's what I've been doing this video, and don't get me wrong, I love this game. But the thing is, I just want to love this game more than I currently do. And that's the problem, right? If you saw the announcements, Rambo, Rain, Melina, all that kind of stuff, awesome, fantastic, right? And with Ultimate Mortal Kombat 11 coming, now is the time to make the big sweeping changes. The big balance changes they've been afraid to make, do them all right now. If there's time to make any kind of system level changes, now is the time to do them. Aftermath, whatever Aftermath was, it wasn't it, you know? Like, armor break mechanics, interesting. For most of the cast, doesn't really matter that much, honestly. A couple people have some pretty good ones, and a couple, like Sonya has a really stupid one. That's really bad, right? So Ultimate MK11 is now time to make the ultimate changes. Whatever things you were too afraid to do in the past, now is the time to just go hog wild. And I hope MK11 does exactly that. Anyways, my friends, thank you for bearing with me with this video. I know it's probably a longer one, and it's a lot of ranting and raving, but it comes from a place of true love and just true hope. I want this to be the best game it can be, and I hope it does get there with the launch of Ultimate Mortal Kombat 11. Anyways, my friends, so before I go too much crazier and go too much longer, that's the end of this video. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well. Go out and play some Mortal Kombat.